I was really excited for you guys when she said you only have one day of class next week, but then she gave you all these assignments, so sorry. Too bad. Well, I have news for you, my friend. Life is not fair. And they're not freshmen, are they? Okay. Okay, good. A real world. Well, thank you for having me. As Lisa said, we go back several years. I'll give you some of my background so you can get the gist of who I am, what I've done, kind of where I come from. And then we'll get into some of the topics that Lisa recommended that I talk to you guys about from my perspective and my different experiences. So I have my undergraduate degree in business and a minor in economics, I think, so long ago, who can remember, from University of Minnesota, Duluth, is where I graduated. And then I worked for a few years in a marketing position, and then I went back for my MBA, and I have an MBA from Creighton University in Omaha, Nebraska. And the only reason I went there is because they paid for the whole damn thing, so it's kind of a treat. So I've been in several different industries, worked for Wells Fargo in the financial industry for a while, right out of graduate school, went to work in the utility business for Halliburton as a consultant, and then I settled down, got off the road and worked for Xcel Energy for a period of years. Probably my longest stint is at Xcel Energy. I may call it NSP because that's what it was called when I worked there before they merged into Xcel Energy. And then I went into the printing business and I worked for Deluxe check printers. You probably have no idea who they are because you don't write checks anymore, which is okay. And another printing company called Merrill Corporation. And then most recently I've been at United Health Group working in a division of theirs called Optum Health. And it's kind of you might call it specialty benefits area, managing their transplant resource services products, transplant products. And then the last couple years managing their wellness products. So we have wellness coaching products, we have telephonic coaching products, online coaching products, and mail-based coaching products. We coach people on lifestyle changes, so things like quit smoking, lose weight, increase your exercise, decrease your stress, living with diabetes, how to keep your heart healthy, different things like that. So that's me, up to date, kind of. Any questions so far? Okay. So I think what I started out, the last session went pretty well, so I'm just going to kind of replicate that. So product management, right? So product management, I always talk about as little diagram that I draw as product management is the center of the universe. So you have to understand that first. So you are the most important, you control the most, you control all these other areas that we're going to talk about, and you have to influence them, you have to make them make your product most successful. So I'm going to talk about these other areas, and if you've seen this before, I apologize, but I'll try and make it relevant to what I've done in my past. So you're the center, you work with marketing, right? So in my most recent position, I worked with marketing on a B2C parameter. So we were selling basically insurance programs to people who employ people, so employers. So like Target Corporation of the world. Target has employees that they're going to offer health insurance coverage for, right? You're not out there yet, but believe me, your parents get this. And you may be covered by your parents' program still. So you get coverage when you go to the doctor, you pay a copay or what have you. When you go to the dentist, you pay a copay. And Target is picking up the bulk of that expense. So we want to, excuse me, I did B2C first, I'm in B2B. So we want to market and sell to Target Corporation as a whole. So The other one is the B2C. So Target has employees, or I may call them members at times too, that work for them, and they're the people who are actually covered. And we want people who are actually covered by the health insurance to participate in our wellness programs because they live healthier lifestyles and they incur fewer medical costs and they show up to work more frequently, and there's all sorts of things that I'll talk about when we get into the return on investment discussion or the ROI, that it is beneficial to have employees live healthier lifestyles. So we market to both of those segments, and we work very closely with marketing to develop promotional campaigns, advertising, direct mail, email, et cetera, et cetera. And I'll talk more about marketing in the future too. Another area that we work really closely with is finance. And a couple of different things we do with finance is we measure P&L. Does everybody know what a P&L statement is? So really stands for profit and loss, but you really you forecast what your revenues and your expenses are going to be, and then on a monthly and a quarterly basis you review that to see if you're on forecast. So if you're making the revenue that you committed to the company that you were going to make, and you're keeping expenses low to the level that you committed you're going to make also. So your margin is the difference, right? Another area that we work with finance on is pricing. So my finance people help me set the price of the product. So we look at different elements of the product. How much does it cost to deliver the product? In our situation with wellness, the actual delivery of the product is the main expense is the coaches who are actually coaching people over the phone. We look at how do we stay competitive in the marketplace, right? So we can't have our price too out of line with our competitors because we won't get any business, right? We also have a certain, again, return on investment that we have to provide and a margin that we work into it. So pricing is a real key area in the finance that we work with. Another area that we work really closely with is sales. And everybody probably understands sales pretty good. At Optum Health, we have people who are out there doing growth sales. So these are people who are out there drumming up brand new business. We haven't sold any of the products that we offer, and Optum Health offers 50 different product lines to be sold. So they're out getting the new business, and these are the really, really good hardcore sales folks that aren't afraid to make a cold call. And then we have people who are called SAEs, Strategic Account Executives. And these are the people who are managing existing accounts, so they have at least one of our products that have been sold to them, but they may not have wellness. They may have a different product like a cancer product or a vision product, and they can upsell my wellness products into that client or target corporation, for example. So we work closely with them. Operations. As I mentioned, these are the folks that deliver your product. In my case, they're doing coaching over the phone. In a production or manufacturing case, they might be, developing and producing the widget or the laptop or the video camera or what have you. So these are the folks that you as a product manager are determining what that product should look like, what the content and makeup of that product, but they're actually producing it and delivering it for you. It's kind of a way to look at that. Another big area is data analytics. And these are the folks that do a couple different things. They help you with reporting. So you need to report back on your product and how it's performing to your clients and to your internal stakeholders. I said that at Target Corporation, I was going to engage 5% of their employees into the wellness programs to help them change their lifestyle. Did I do it? I need to report back to Target because they're expecting that, because that's going to help them change the amount of healthcare expense that they incur over the year. Okay. Another area that data analytics helps on is your ROI, your return on investment. They help you measure that and keep you on track for providing the ROI that you've committed to the corporation. And I'll talk a little bit more about how we measure return on investment in our wellness products, because it's a little different than probably other products because it's in a service industry. Talked about customer service. So the folks who are usually on the phone taking the feedback from the client or the member, so either target corporation or that member or employee that we're coaching. So those folks are usually taking complaints. I'll admit it. Not a lot of people call in and say I'm satisfied. They call in and say I'm not satisfied. So you need to work really closely with them on how to handle it, what's expected of the product to deliver, and what's not expected of the product to deliver. We don't deliver the world. We don't get paid for providing to the world. So those expectations have to be clear in their minds, and you have to help them handle the calls and the complaints and the situations that they get involved into. So research. So we do a lot of, and this would be market research. So we do a lot of competitive analysis. We do a lot of research on what are the trends coming into the marketplace. What are our competitors providing? What has worked in the past? What hasn't worked in the past? Where is the industry moving? Try to keep on top of these things. We did a really interesting research project on ethnography back in the summer of 2010. And we talked to 20 different members or employees who had gone through the coaching program and what was really important to them in the coaching program. And I'll talk a little bit about that and how we kind of tweaked our brand and our logo and our tagline to reflect what we heard in that ethnography study. But it was really cool. I got to go out on a couple of the in-person, in-home sessions with the consumers and talk to them and see what made the program work for them and what would they have paid for themselves, because now their employer's paying for it. If we took it direct to consumer, what would they have appreciated? And then you can't get away from these guys, unfortunately. You're going to have contracts, you're going to have partnerships, you're going to do RFPs, and you're going to sign business up, and you got to have legal kind of verify that everything's good to go and that both parties are legally bound to provide the product that you say you're going to provide your client and you. And then big piece right now, and I know I haven't hit on everything, but IT. So a lot of technology coming into play now as far as over the internet, as far as developing websites, landing pages, sending out periodic text messages, just all of the things that they need to be involved with to help you with your product and promoting and marketing and providing your product out to the marketplace. So, makes sense? So it was kind of joking about the middle of the universe, but you really do have to pull your weight and influence all of these different areas, because there's other product managers out here. Remember I said there's 50 products in Optum Health? They're all pulling on these same resources to get their agenda met, as are you. So anyway, questions about that? No? Seen it before? Old news? Okay, cool. So with that said, see some of the areas that Lisa had jotted down that I could touch on with you guys. First one is branding and brand image. And I'm going to tell a story that kind of goes back a ways, but sometimes in business, you're asked to do things by your superiors that are a little bit quirky and don't make all that much sense. So back when I was at NSP or Excel Energy, there had been a kind of an icon or a figure that represented NSP before I was there, first of all, in the 1950s, and he was called Ready Kilowatt. And this is the only visual I could be, but Ready Kilowatt was made out of lightning bolts for arms and legs, and he was kind of the electric kind of icon, and I'll pass this around. So in the late 1990s, our CEO, when I was working there, had the opportunity to buy the rights to Ready Kilowatt back to Xcel Energy, and he thought it was a great opportunity. Didn't talk with the brand and marketing people, which I was a part of at the time, and he bought Ready Kilowatt back. So, okay, so we have this Ready Kilowatt guy, and we paid a lot of money for him, and what do we do with him now, and how do we relaunch him and get him out into the marketplace? So one of the big hang-ups that we had was that not only were we an electric company, but we also provided natural gas. And natural gas runs your furnaces and your water heaters and your dryers and things like that. So we had this Ready Kilowatt who was this electric icon, and we needed a natural gas icon. So we came up with a guy called Ready Flame. And natural gas is represented by a blue flame a lot of times, and I'm sorry I don't have a better picture of this, but Ready Flame was like a blue flame image, and I'll pass this around. And this was one of those quirky brand things that you do because the orders came down from above, but we relaunched Ready Kilowatt and Ready Flame. We had a big launch party. It was kind of back to the 50s. We had them in big mascot uniforms, so life-size Ready Flame and Ready Kilowatt, through a big 1950s party, and got a lot of press over it. Actually, I won an award at that year's American Gas Association conference for the best brand awareness for that year for Ready Flame. So something that you think is kind of quirky and out there, sometimes works and sometimes you can pull it off. All of the Readies went away when they merged to form Xcel Energy, so Ready Flame and Ready Kilowatt are now dead again. But anyway, it's kind of a quirky little brand story I thought I'd share with you. When we did go into the merger, NSP merged with New Century Energies out of Colorado and formed Xcel Energy as you know it today. It was a huge brand undertaking. If you can imagine, just coming up with the name, coming up with the brand with that little red swirl, a lot of debate around that little red swirl for Xcel Energy, getting naming rights for the hockey arena, shortening it to the X, things like that. And then think about all of the utility trucks that were painted with NSP blue and green, and now they all had to be painted white with the Xcel Energy and the red swirl on it. And the same thing had to happen in Colorado and Texas, which is the company that we merged with. So really a well-coordinated, not like Ready Flame and Ready Kilowatt, a well-coordinated operation that went into the rebranding of the merged company into Xcel Energy. So just, when you think about a brand and you think about, everybody knows Pepsi and Nike and things like that, but what goes into kind of communicating and getting that brand across all of your communication, all of your collateral, all your vehicles, things like that. So it's a big, big undertaking. The next area that Lisa had kind of pointed out was new product development and new product ideas. And I worked with the author of this book, Dr. Scott Edgett. When I was at Xcel Energy, we created the stage gate product development process. Is everybody familiar with that? You go through conceptual design, and you go through a gate, and you're evaluated in whether your product should move forward, and you have probably 4 or 5 that you go through. Well, I was on a team, about 4 of us, who worked with Scott Edgett to put the whole process together. We didn't have a process at the time. that we went through, and we had 5 different business units in 5 different states who were doing their own product development, not in conjunction with each other, so there was a lot of overlap when we brought it all together. But it was a really good exercise to go through, and Dr. Edgett really helped us customize it for the utility industry, because the utility industry is, well, every industry is a little quirky, but you know, it's electricity. You just expect it to be there when you plug something in, right? You expect your appliances just to come on, and so that was a really interesting project to be on, and that's some of what you do is not all product management. You get put in special teams, and you get asked to contribute in different and interesting ways, and I would recommend that you try to accept as many of those opportunities as you can going forward. Talk a little bit about a couple new products that I actually developed and piloted and rolled out. I mentioned that I worked for Deluxe Corporation, and Deluxe is a check printing and form printing corporation down on the east side of the Twin Cities. They were the 3rd largest check printing business in the country when checks were in their heyday, which they're not any longer. I was brought on, I worked there probably 7 years ago or so, and I was brought on to look at everything besides printing anything. So no check printing, no forms printing. We had a small and medium-sized business base of about 1.5 million customers, and they were moving away from check printing. They were moving away from, printing paper invoices, printing paper order forms, paper anything. So I looked at about 50 different business opportunities or product opportunities that we could offer to these small to medium-sized business customers of ours. And one of the ones that I took all the way through was an online payroll processing. Payroll processing for small to medium-sized businesses is very complicated because of the taxes that are involved. So it's easy to pay people, but you have to be proficient at taking the state and local taxes out. You have to be proficient at taxing yourself and your corporation taxes and things like that. So on average, a small to medium-sized business customer pays at least one penalty every year, and that is an average cost. It was about $860 per year because they don't get the taxes right. Plus, it's a pain in the butt. Business owners want to be running their business and producing their product and selling their product, right? They don't like paperwork usually. So we investigated a few different online payroll processing companies across the country. I narrowed it down to 3 different companies. One was Intuit, which you probably know. They're out of California. One was Sure Payroll, and I can't recall the name of the third one. And I went out and visited each one, kind of did my due diligence around the business case and what I needed each one of them to be able to provide and how they would work with me. I decided on Sure Payroll. They're a company out of Chicago, Illinois, and they had been doing online payroll processing, and they agreed to rebrand it for my customers. So we worked through all the logistics of bringing a partner on board, which are many, because I wanted them to address our customers as Deluxe Business Service customers. I wanted their customer service to address them that way. I wanted their link on my website to go right into payroll processing, not Sure Payroll's website in for processing. So plus all the, working with legal again, I said, can't get away from them because they want to finalize the contract with you. Prepare all the marketing and communications. You can't just build it and they will come. You have to tell customers that you have this new product or this new service that they can buy, pricing it, just the whole gamut of what I talked about there to bring on a partner that could provide another service because our checks and printed forms are going by the wayside. So we did pilot it with Sure Payroll, and we actually rolled it out. and the customers were very receptive to it. And now I actually have heard more advertisements on the radio and such for online payroll processing through both of the companies that I had in my finalist list, Intuit and Sure Payroll. So kind of fun when it all comes together, but it's a lot of work. Oh, and then I was going to talk about product enhancements. One of the coolest ones that I worked on was just this last summer at Optum Health. I talked about the wellness programs. So one of the things that we realized we were missing was a website that really was a community and really provided tracking tools for our consumers. They really wanted an additional support system besides their coach who was on the phone with them, or besides the mail packets that they were getting in the mail. So I couldn't get IT, remember them up there, to build it fast enough and cheap enough for us. So I went to an outside vendor, and I decided to partnership with them. And they're called Spark People. I don't know if anybody's heard of them. You're not to that point in life where you have to worry about tracking your food and losing weight. You're lucky. Anyway, so Spark People has a great online community tool. They have communities for all sorts of different lifestyles, whether you want to lose weight, whether you want to reduce your stress, whether you want to increase your exercise. So whether you just live in Minneapolis and you want to connect with people in Minneapolis or St. Cloud or St. Joe, whether you want to be in a community who all belong to the YMCA. So great community presence online. They also have great trackers. One of the key things about losing weight especially is tracking your calorie intake and your exercise. And they have tools on Spark People to do that. They also have great exercise demos on video. That's one of the things that our coaches get asked for now. Well, how would I, what would I do to strengthen my core or my abdomens or my upper body or my legs? And Spark People has great videos divvied out by each part of your body that you want to work and you want to strengthen, that the coaches can now share with the members who want to learn. They also have great recipes. They also have, and this is really, just wild to look at, restaurant calorie guides. And they have recommendations of what you can eat at different restaurants that are healthy. There's only 5 things at Kentucky Fried Chicken that you can eat that are healthy. And one is green beans, which I really don't care for. But it's amazing. You go to like Macaroni, Macaroni Grill, that restaurant. There are like 3 entrees you can have that are under 1,500 calories at Macaroni Grill. I am not kidding you. What about McDonald's? I think at McDonald's you can have the broiled chicken wrap. I know that's one of them. And I think you can have the parfait without the granola. And I think, does McDonald's have salads anymore? Yeah, I think you can. It's a dressing on a salad that's always the worst. Anyway, so again, we went through this whole partnership. We adopted Spark People. It's a product enhancement. Didn't really change the product. I'm not going to charge any more for it. It's price neutral. It's just an added tool that the coaches and the members can use. And another cool thing about, if the member allows it, if the employee says, yeah, my coach can go in and see what I tracked, then they can both look at it when they're on their coach call and see what the member really did eat and really did exercise. But that's a request that we get. So just a little product enhancement that we added to the wellness programs. So then I was going to talk a little bit about pricing. And we were talking at lunch, kind of a different spin on pricing. So I'm not going to look at it so much as from the consumer or the client or the purchasing person's viewpoint. I'm going to talk about it from the product viewpoint, in that I still need to be competitive in the marketplace. I still need to cover the cost of my product to provide my product. So I still need to pay for those coaches or those booklets that we're sending out in the mail. But I also need to keep the lights on. I also need to pay for some of these corporate areas, IT, legal, finance, mostly all of them that don't report for me, but they're called overhead or shared services. So one of the dilemmas that we have in a large corporation like United Health Group is that we get a lot of extra charges for overhead or shared services. So one of the exercises that we had to do in wellness, because those extra fees were driving up my price so that I wasn't competitive in the marketplace. I lost 2 major bids over the summer with large corporations because I was not priced in the right range for the product that I was delivering. So we took a look at those overhead charges, and as a product owner, you really need to keep an eye on those. We went back to see if our percentage of revenue that we were bringing in matched the percentage of those overhead fees that we were getting charged, and they weren't. And so we got those back in line, brought my product price down, got me more competitive in the marketplace, and now I need to continuously watch that and make sure that people don't start. It's bad to say about your own corporation, but they will. They'll charge you a higher percentage than you owe for those overhead and shared services departments. So that's just one example of where pricing can go haywire, so to speak. Along with the pricing, I usually talk about the return on investment, or ROI. So with wellness, return on investment, as I mentioned earlier, is measured in a little bit of a different way as a service and not a product, and actually what the product or service is supposed to do for people. So there's 3 pieces that we look at in measuring return on investment for wellness. The first one is wellness program should reduce the amount of spend on healthcare for every member, therefore for each of those employers, right? So if you reduce it for employees, they don't go to the doctor as frequently, they don't get prescriptions as frequently, they're living healthier lifestyles. They're not smokers in getting chemotherapy on their lung cancer or what have you. They're living healthier lifestyles. They're having fewer or lower medical costs. So that's number 1. Number 2 thing that we look at is improved productivity of your employees. So Target Corporation wants their employees to come to work, right? They don't want them to be absent because they're sick and living unhealthy lifestyles, right? So they improve productivity through not being absent, and they improve productivity through something called presenteeism. And what presenteeism is that when you go to work, you're going to work. You're not coming to work sick. You're not spreading sickness. You're not coming to work having to make doctor's appointments, leaving for doctor's appointments. You're coming to work, and you're going to be productive, and you're going to work. And that's presenteeism. You are present to work. The third area that we measure in return on investment is disability insurance and workers' compensation. So again, disability insurance, you may have a small employee contribution, but your employer pays the bulk of that. So they don't want you to be a smoker who gets lung cancer, who has to go out on disability for 3 months. They don't want to pay for that. They want you to live a healthier lifestyle. So that's why they buy the wellness program. So those are the 3 areas that we look at. So those 3 areas have to add up to at least a 1-to-1 return on investment, right? So if I'm going to pay $1 for wellness, I better get $1 back from a combination of those 3 areas, or I'm not going to buy your product, are you? Are you going to invest $1 to get 50 cents back? No, it's at least got to be 1-to-1. You'd like it to be 1-to-2, 1-to-3. And in the years going forward on wellness programs, actually it does improve, because the longer people live, think about it, the longer people live healthier lifestyles, it's compounding those savings that the employer will see from the three areas that I talked about: productivity, healthcare savings, and disability. So that's a little twist maybe on return on investment that I just wanted to share with you guys. Any questions? No? Still with me? Question? Mm-hmm. The employees participate. Yeah, yeah, good question. There's a few different ways that we get people, we call it enrolled into the wellness coaching programs, especially the telephonic programs. So one of the things that a lot of the employers are doing now is they're having employees take a health assessment or a health risk assessment, an HA or an HRA. So this is self-reported by the employee on the kind of lifestyle that they're living. So they're going to ask questions about how tall are you, what do you weigh, are you hitting your BMI, your body mass index, do you smoke, do you wear your seatbelt, are you stressed out, are you, just kind of just general questions. And we collect that data from those health assessments, and so we mine in that data for those people who are key people that would need to be, obviously I smoke, I need to be coached on quitting smoking, right? So in that case, those people come up in what we have is a dialer, and they actually dial those members that are at risk from their health assessment results, and an engagement specialist on our staff in the operations area. Remember, they're going to provide the product, so an engagement specialist will engage the consumer who's at risk on the phone, and they'll tell them about the program, and they'll tell them that it's free of charge, it's provided by your employer has paid for it, it's a coaching model, a coach will coach you over the phone. Our basic programs are 3 to 5 coach calls, and then those added things like I told you with Spark People and some added tools that they'll get. And then that engagement specialist tries to get that person to enroll in the coaching program that's appropriate for them. And then that engagement specialist sets up the first coach call. They go into the coach's calendars and they set up that coach call, and then that coach takes over managing that consumer through the 3 to 5 coach calls for a duration of 4 to 5 months. Yeah, Lisa. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm. Nope. Nope. All the employer finds out is an overall of how many employees are enrolled in which program. They never find out, Lisa Lindgren, you're in the stress management program, or Teresa Dempsey, you're in the weight management program. They just find out the reporting that I talked about up here somewhere. Our reports just show total numbers of people who are enrolled in each program. And like I said, we enroll people we have 7 different programs. So tobacco, weight management, nutrition, exercise, stress, diabetes, and heart health. And then we take a deep dive into 2 of those areas, and it's the Quit Power program. So the coach call model is 8 calls there, and then a healthy weight, or HW, and that program is 10 coach calls. And obviously we have better success with more coach calls. So we try to promote those programs. Yeah. What we first try to do is we try to figure out a personal goal or reason why this person wants to be coached. So not just, I know I'm overweight, I want to lose weight. It might be gosh, my daughter's getting married next May, and I want to look good at the wedding, so I need to drop 15 pounds. You know, so it's very personal to them. It's not just in general. And we talk to them about goal setting. We talk to them about what are goals that you think you could attain. So we start with goals that are going to lead into the ultimate objective of the program. So in a lot of times, so let's take it from that weight loss program. I want to lose 15 pounds because my daughter's getting married next May, right? Okay, so what would you want to the coach would say to me, what would you want to focus on first, Teresa? There are two things that go into losing weight, right? Exercise and nutrition. Let's focus on one of them for our first call. Let's set some goals that you're going to meet before our next call, and then the next call we'll focus on the other one. I want to focus on nutrition first, and then we'll focus on exercise next. Okay, so what are you eating? What does your typical day look like? The coach will ask them. So we really try to get the member engaged in things that are really personal to their life. You know, what are you eating? What are you getting up in the morning? What are you having? Are you having carbohydrates or protein? Do you know the difference between carbohydrates and protein? Do you know what your mix should be? Do you know how many calories you eat per day? Do you know that you have to cut 500 calories per day, every day of the week to start weight loss to start happen? You know, we give them facts and figures to show them also that we are experts in this field. And so we set a goal for them. So I'm going to get another coach call in 2 weeks. Okay, so my goal is around nutrition. I'm going to cut 500 calories out of my diet every day until our next coach call. I'm going to keep track of if I do that. I'm going to go on Spark People and log my calories. I'm going to have a mix of 70% proteins and 30% carbohydrates per day. I understand what those are now because my coach has coached me on it. And we move forward, and we always make or have the member reiterate the goals and how they're going to accomplish it back out to the coach. So it's not just the coach telling, the buy-in has come from the member. And that's how we keep them going through the program. That's the biggest part. It isn't just us telling, it's their feedback. And then they might say, well, what's the percentage that you think you're going to accomplish this goal by our next coach call in 3 weeks? And I say, well, I'll probably do it 80% of the days. I'll do all those things I'm supposed to do. Okay, well, we're going to hold you to that, Teresa. We're going to see how you do in the next coach call. So, make sense? Other question? Yep.
When you guys do coach calls, obviously,
You know, it's funny. It's a good question. You would think that people are going to be more honest face to face, right? Kind of easier to lie over the phone. People don't do a good job of lying over the phone either, though. They'll either kind of avoid the question or, you know, like, so let's say it's my next coach call. It's 3 weeks, and I've been trying to cut the calories, you know, increase the protein, and my coach will say, well, so Teresa, how did that go? Well, you know, they'll kind of, it went okay. Did you do it 80% of the time, like you said? Well, I probably didn't. They're pretty honest. They know they're being held accountable, and that's one of the things when we did the ethnography study that I talked about, and we went out and talked to 20 participants. They want to be held accountable. They want someone that they have started to know and trust and is an expert in the field holding them accountable. So they still, I don't know if they lie on the phone, but they'll tell you if they really aren't hitting the goals, you know. And we don't have any in-person coaching programs at the moment, just FYI. Did you have another question over here? Yeah, sorry.
like a program where you want to lose weight, I understand
Mm-hmm.
what about
We'll set longer term goals that you can try and abide by, or you can re-enroll in the program. Yep. We'll try to give you, tips, and we also try and identify what are the major obstacles, or what are the situations where you hit that you fall down and you don't hit the calories intake, or you skip your exercise, or So what are those situations where you're going to miss on your goals? And we try to teach you to, especially in like the smoking program, what triggers that smoking. So let's try and help you avoid that. And same in the stress program. So if you see that trigger for stress coming, what are you going to do to get away from that or avoid that? And we'll teach you methods how to do that too, to continue beyond if you don't want to re-enroll, but you can re-enroll too. Yeah. Hi. I would say we only see about 20% that want to re-enroll. The marketplace is changing a little bit for our business. I don't know if I talked about it in this session or the last one, but we're getting a lot more into bundled products. And in the wellness area, what that means is that you're going to get an incentive to take that health assessment that I talked about. And if your markers come up and show us that you need wellness coaching, you're going to get an incentive, a cash incentive to do that wellness coaching. So let's say, and your employer is going to pay for it. So let's say you get a $50 incentive to do your health assessment, and then comes up that you should go through one of the coaching programs. You're going to get a $75 cash incentive to go through that coaching program. The problem with that is that we're seeing people not committed to the coaching program. They're committed to the cash, right? They just want to get the cash. They can do as few as 3 coach calls and complete their program and be done with it and get their cash. So it's a good thing because more companies are on board with wellness and trying to get their employees to live healthier lifestyles, but the way that it's coming across sometimes for the employee isn't a long-term lifestyle change. It's to get the cash, I will admit. Good question. Anything? Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. I see it as complementary to my programs, and I have presented, again, bundling some of my programs with some of those discounts for gym programs. So one that we looked at was a health assessment. You would do a health assessment. You would have the opportunity to go through wellness coaching, and you would also have the opportunity to get a discount at a gym if you attended 12 times per month. You get like 50% off. So as I bundle those together, I see them working complementary to each other to achieve the lifestyle change overall. Yeah, good question. Good addition to our programs, I think. Anything else? Good question. Okay, I was going to talk a little bit about sales. Those sales people up there. Sales people are pretty much the same in every business and every industry. Sales people kind of want to sell what the customer wants to buy, even if that's not the product that I have to sell or that we've developed. They can be your best ally, but they can also be your biggest challenge. You always want to work with sales to understand the opportunity. I had an opportunity recently with a very large employer out in the United States. They didn't want to do a 3 to 5 coach call model. They wanted 2 coach calls for their members or their employees. I don't offer that. I don't offer that. I don't have operations ready to deliver that. I don't have finance ready to price that. I don't know how to measure that and reporting. I don't know what the return on investment should be on that. But the salesperson came to us. It's about an 80 or 90,000 employee client, employer. So it was a great opportunity. We get paid on a different payment basis than you've probably ever heard of. We get paid on per member per month. So every person that's employed as an employee, the employer pays me, say 50 cents per member per month. So think about what that would add up to be for 80 or 90,000 members per year. You can do math in your head. That's a lot of money. Lots of money, millions of dollars. So I had the decision to make, would I change my product for this huge client? What do you think I should do? I got a no over here. Unfortunately, I did it. It's a pain in the butt because of all these things over here. But we did it. We made it work. Had to reset all the expectations over here with all these different areas that I talked about. It's not open for everybody to sell, so it's not advertised on the market as the new coaching product. But we did do it for that client. We worked closely with the salesperson to do that. So that's the other thing I want to say is that you need to work closely with sales. I always like to train the salespeople myself. I don't like to utilize a trainer. I don't like to train the trainer. I want to train the people. I want to train them to know as much about my products as they can. Also, I have to remember, though, that they do have 50 products, right, from Optum Health that they're trying to sell out in the marketplace. So I also have to be the SME or the SME or the subject matter expert. So if they do hit a situation where they need to bring me into a sales presentation or an outcomes reporting presentation, that I'm available to do that, and I support them in that, and I'll travel to wherever that client is to do that and help them through that. So it's kind of a fine line with the sales folks. You know, if that opportunity where that client wanted to do only 2 coach calls and they were 2,000 members, you're right, I wouldn't do it. I couldn't do it. But because of the size of it, I did it. Question? The person who participates the most is me. 45 to 50-year-old females. Why do you think that is? What happens? We're fat, okay? We're overweight. We're not exercising. Our kids are gone, right? How old is your mom and dad? Probably 45 years old. They're gone to college. I have all this time to think about myself and think about my image, and I have the time to change it now because I'm not changing your diapers anymore, right? Or taking you to hockey practice. So those are the people who participate the most. And it's more females, and then the next group is the males in that same age category. Yep, good question. Oh, sorry, yeah. Yeah, and that does happen. And the reason that happens is the way that our sales process works is we sell through brokers. So there's some big brokers out there in the industry because an employer usually, even if you're target corporation, you really don't have the HR staff any longer on full time to figure out all these different products in the health insurance arena. So you hire a broker like Mercer or Wyatt. So then they know about what we did for that client, they have other clients of that same magnitude, then they will come back and ask if we will tweak the product. Yep, Lisa. Do we see the what? I'm sorry. I guess we see him more as a partner. Yeah. I guess, I think we do give them a marketing pitch, right? We do try to maintain our status within their businesses, within their people who are going to the end client. But we try to be on the same side as them as a partner in bringing the best product out to the marketplace and to their clients and keeping their clients happy. Because their clients aren't happy. The client's not only not happy with us, but they're not happy with the broker either because they brokered the deal, right? So, good question. Other questions? Okay. So sales. What do they say? Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. And remember, you are the center of the universe. So, sales is never the center of the universe. Promotional strategies. We talked about this in the earlier session. I would say marketing and promotions and in that whole area of product management, marketing management, whatever you want to call it, has changed the most in my career. The whole online tools, websites, social media, social networks, interactive media, Facebook, tweeting, whatever you call it. I don't do it, obviously. That has changed the most. It will continue to change the most. I think you need to be up on and evaluate all of those options when you're figuring out how to promote, market, advertise your products and your services. I will say that in my business, the wellness products now I'm just speaking for, I have a certain demographic, again, that wants to go online and wants to be marketed to online. I will send them emails straight to the employees to engage in my program. Again, that's another way that I get people to engage in the program. I send them emails and ask them to call into us. But I also have members, employees who want to get something in the mail. I still do direct mail campaigns. They still want something tangible. I do campaigns at their site of employment. We'll do posters in the break rooms. We'll do Klingons on the mirrors in the restrooms. We'll do tents on the tables in the cafeteria. So it's kind of old school and new school. And another product that we have that I'll share with you guys is a product, and it's called Now Clinic. Now Clinic from Optum Health. You guys heard of it yet? Yeah. So Now Clinic is a concept where you go online, you go to your computer screen, and you call up a doctor, and he's on his computer screen, and you can see him, and he can see you, and he can diagnose you for some of the minor ailments, like say you have a sore throat, or say you have the chicken pox, or say some of the minor stuff. You wouldn't go talk to this online doctor thinking you have lung cancer or you broke a bone or anything. But it's a brand new concept that we've launched through Optum Health. It's called Now Clinic. It's new technology. I mean, kind of the newest we can get at, right? It's online. It's really reasonable price point, $45. How do you think we're advertising it and promoting it? Billboards, radio, the old-fashioned way. Isn't that interesting? Question? Yep. You could. Mm-hmm. Zipnosis. No. always the highest price. Remember? It's that overhead. It's that damn overhead. No, good to know, though. Thank you. Yep. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Huh. Kind of a twist on it, but very similar. Uh-huh. Okay. Very cool. Hypnosis. I'll look into that. Thank you. Yeah, so this brand new technology in use, brand new product. Major promotions are the old-fashioned ones. Outdoor advertising, billboards, radio. So it's just interesting. I mean, I think promotions is, and Lisa knows this about me, I'm always very interested in consumer behavior and what they're going to react to and what they're going to respond to. Consumers still respond to spiffs. You know, I'll send out a direct mail piece. I'll say, hey, enroll in our coaching program, and I'll send you a pedometer. It costs me, you know, $1.39. Woohoo! They'll call in for their pedometer. You know, my engagement rate peaks every time I do a spiff. You know, I'll send out a book, 100 Smart Choices that I've published. They'll call in. So you just, you know, I don't know. Promotions are interesting. Consumer behavior is very interesting. Yep. And where would you advertise online? I think that's the key problem that advertisers are trying to figure out right now. I meant it rhetorically. That's the thing that they're trying to figure out. Where we're trying to do an online doctor visit, but where would I advertise for an online doctor visit? So WebMD is obvious. They're a major competitor of mine, so I don't know if I'd advertise there. But you know, that's part of what advertisers and promotion people are trying to figure out now with, you know, some of the new products, some of the new technologies. People are still going to drive their car. Americans love to drive their car. They're still going to see billboards. You know, it's very clean. It's a very clean, simple message on the billboard. They're doing more than billboards. I just thought it was kind of interesting that, you know. Yeah.
Article that Uber does advertising for
Uh-huh.
people actually build this against those products. So,
Yep.
and
Yep.
actually sales
Yep.
the more you add.
Yeah. I know some of the websites I get to, you get that advertising every time you open up Star Tribune or, you know, some of the others, AHIP, which is a healthcare provider, but you always get that pop-up screen that is going to advertise to you Netflix. And I don't want to buy Netflix. I'm not here to do that. So I get what you're saying there, too. Anything else? Did I miss any? Oh, I won't do my little ethics story. We'll save that one. I have a little ethical behavior story, but maybe next time. So, any other? Go ahead. It's not the right setting. Maybe I could go back for a night class and we could.
All of age.
And you're on videotape right now.
Oh, great, great. Thank you so much. Yeah.